Welcome into another edition of Sportball with Squam, Stogie, and Skulldog. I'm your host, Sam. With me, as always, are these two dicklets, short for short dick. Or is it long for short dick? Anyway, their names are Kyle and Seth. Welcome in, boys. How we doing?
Well, doing well. I speak for the both of us, I think.
I don't know if I appreciate you calling us dicklets every time.
Why didn't you appreciate it?
Just seems like there's maybe some nicer ways you could think of to introduce us. Such illustrious individuals that we are.
Welcome in these two small wieners. Is that better?
Yes. I would like it to be known, though, that along with calling me Thicky Rubio, Stogie Barone, among other names, I can now be referred to as the human banana peel. I've nicknamed myself this, so to
tell
all
us where
five
this
listeners.
came from, Kyle.
I was cleaning our kitchen the other day, and there's a bundle of bananas that are very rotten that I won't touch. Sometimes life could be rotten, so I thought maybe I should just be the human banana peel.
That's beautiful in a way, and I think it's a comment on society.
That's exactly what it is.
Also, can I get props for doing the intro without even looking at my notes?
I highly commend you.
Wow, you're amazing.
There's a lot of S's and syllables, so I'm pretty proud of myself.
You should be good at that, considering your name is both of those things.
All right, so
yes,
let's just get right into it. Why fuck around, boys? That's not what we're here for. Am I right?
You raise a great point.
We have the NBA podcast Big Summer Blowout, as I've titled it.
I don't know.
Big Summer Blowout. Except it's winter. But that's why it's fun.
Yeah, but I want our thoughts to be balmy. So also I have a countdown timer like that on a ticking bomb that my computer will restart in 1 hour and 31 minutes. So everyone keep an eye on that. All right, so let's start with the Celtics, because if there's one thing that we always have to discuss, it's the Celtics, and that's because they're dysfunctional, and it makes us feel good to talk about them and have Seth feel bad, right, Kyle?
Exactly.
So Seth, you hate Kyrie now?
He's dead to me. He's been deceased for quite some time.
I killed him last week, you fool.
The hard thing is, like, still when I watch the Celtics, I love watching Kyrie play, and he's just an enjoyable human to look like. He's so graceful on the court. He does things that most players would never be able to do. And I find myself, like, obviously still cheering for him, but at this point we've gotten to the level where the dysfunction and the toxicity that he's creating in the locker room and just how much he's talking. And I mean, it's clear as day that the Celtics look better without him on the court, and especially like on days when he doesn't play at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I was thinking about, like, imagine if we had just traded Kyrie for Anthony Davis. And maybe that wouldn't have made, like, maybe Davis wouldn't have stayed. But for this season, that could have made an incredible impact. And I think they didn't do, I mean, I don't know that the Pelicans would have done that, because maybe they feel that Kyrie would leave soon anyways. But I think the Celtics didn't put that on the table because they were hoping to get both of them. And now it's like, I don't even want Kyrie on my team anymore. I mean, maybe once Davis, like, if Davis gets there, then things will change, and the whole just personnel and who's on the team they'll build a new chemistry. But right now it's clearly not working. And I miss the good old days when we were like the underdog Celtics who were overachieving and all playing together as a team. And I think that's in the era of guys just wanting to play together and build super teams. I think that chemistry sometimes gets missed, which I know we'll talk about later on in the podcast with how
spoilers, Seth, please, our five listeners.
What I don't really understand about the Celtics, and I don't know why I didn't bring this up before, but the Celtics wanting to go after AD so badly in free agency, like, they paid Kyrie and took Kyrie because he wanted out of Cleveland because he didn't want to play with another so-called superstar, aka LeBron. So why are you trying to pair him now with another top 5 player in the NBA when the sole reason of leaving his previous place of work was because he was upset that he wasn't the alpha on the team?
That's interesting. There's probably a couple reasons for that. Namely, one being that Kyrie and Anthony Davis are known to be friends. Also, that I mean, maybe that's not a big thing. Also, that Kyrie might still feel like he's the alpha on a team with Anthony Davis, because I don't know how much of an alpha personality Anthony has, even though Davis would clearly be the better player on that team. But also, they may have felt like Kyrie learned from his experience, which he has said already, and even has seemed, and there's been rumblings that he's willing to get back with LeBron himself. Right, so you would assume that part of Kyrie's irkness is past him. And there's a whole new irkness that he's found now with younger players. What I don't really get is Kyrie's acting like he's this grizzled veteran who can't stand the young guys because they don't know how to play, when he's 25 years old, sopping wet. And, like, what kind of leader is he? He's never been the leader on a team
26.
before. Oh, okay, never mind then.
Everything you said is false.
Like, I just don't know why he needs to be, like, why he feels the need to rein in these young guys and like speak to the media about them. I just feel like that's just not even his job, you know? Do you feel that way, Seth? I mean, I guess he is the best player, so maybe it is his job. I don't know.
I think he wants it to be his job, and I think he's looking for explanations for why the team is losing. And he doesn't want to tell people, well, it's because I'm a bad leader and we can't have any chemistry on the court and whatever's going down in the locker room. Right. I think it's partially like a cause and effect thing, like a chicken and the egg, perhaps.
I solved that.
Where he goes and talks to the media about how everything's bad, and then that's evidence that clearly people aren't on the same page. And at the same time, that makes it worse, where because he's talked to the media and he's bitching about the young guys, now the young guys are pissed. So it's just this vicious cycle. But at the same time, I think part of it is like, it's actually his fault, and he can tell that the team is playing better when he doesn't play. But he's not going to say that to the media, and so his explanation is that, well, it's the young guys, and we're not being patient, and people don't know their roles, and people are trying to do more like than they really should, or they think they should have a bigger role, so people are upset. And it's like, that's definitely part of it, but it's not helping to be calling people out like this. And if you just let Al Horford do the leading, I'm sure everything would be better.
And I feel like while some of these things may be harsh and maybe it wouldn't be the leadership style I would choose, I would feel better if he just said these things internally to guys in person, and didn't come out on the media and say them, you know? I could see you trying to push your younger teammates in practice or in a locker room to have conversations with them one-on-one about, are they happy in their role, et cetera? What can we do to make that better? But he's just kind of following in the LeBron James mold, which is one of my least favorite things about LeBron. Mm-hmm. Everything else I love about him, his acumen in the bedroom being one of them. But I don't like when players go out to the media as an outlet to criticize their teammates, because I don't think it's very constructive.
Yeah. Does anyone like that?
I think the players seem to. Maybe it's just like they get asked these questions, they just answer them, you know? Because it doesn't seem to be helping anyone, and they have to. I feel like they have to realize that, but I feel like they're just frustrated. And when you're pressed up against, you know, your locker with 10 cameras in front of you, and someone asks a question that frustrates you, maybe just kind of let it out, you know?
Yeah.
All that being said, I still am holding on to a semblance of a thought that they could make it out of the East still. I don't know.
I think it's possible. I think anything can happen in the playoffs, and maybe they'll figure it out. Maybe once the playoffs start, everyone will set aside their egos, and Kyrie will make some clutch shots, and Al will be himself, and we'll just will ourselves through it. But I definitely don't think we're the favorite, and I would not pick us in a series against Milwaukee or Toronto.
And need I remind you that had the playoffs started today, they'd be playing the 76ers in the first round. So, Kyle, we feel pretty not confident that they're going to win that, right?
No, I don't. This chemistry issue is just so terrible that, like, I don't see really any way of them making it past the second round. Like, if they somehow end up against Brooklyn in the first round, I think I would highly consider picking Brooklyn to beat them in the first round.
At least Brooklyn's happy.
Brooklyn is very happy. I listened to a podcast with Joe Harris today, and he made it sound like they're like one of the happiest, closest teams in the NBA.
Yeah, he did.
Like, I don't know much about all other, 29 other or 28 other teams that we know about the Celtics, but the chemistry that Brooklyn has is just so top tier, and they're all Stogie boys, so I just love them even more for that.
All 15 on the NBA roster are Stogie boys.
100%.
I feel like also this might be a little minor of a point, but Brooklyn doesn't have like a star, and they don't have anyone that brings a lot of media attention. I think that when you have someone like LeBron or Kyrie or Kevin Durant, you automatically get media scrutiny, right? And that becomes, I think, tough for teams if they don't have a solid internal structure.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely just harder to cultivate that chemistry in a bigger market, or also just with higher expectations. Like the Celtics came in with such high expectations, whereas everyone thought Brooklyn was going to be trash or just mediocre at best. Yeah. So that's a big part of it. But I mean, kudos to them for figuring it out.
Let's shift gears to another dysfunctional team, the Los Angeles Lakers of Anaheim. Right now they have a 5% chance to make the playoffs according to some bullshit number that I don't know where it came from. I think I just saw it on the ESPN ticker, to be honest. Kyle, let's start with you. Do you think they'll make the playoffs, and do you think Luke Walton is gone as head coach either way?
Yes, I do think they make the playoffs. I think it's going to come down to like the last week or two of the season. It's going to be close for sure, but
paint me the picture that you painted me today of the next week's.
Yeah, I was just about to do that. So not do I just think the Lakers make the playoffs. I also think the Kings make the playoffs as the 7th seed. But really, like I was telling you guys today, let me paint it for the audience here. They make the playoffs. Their playoff run really starts this weekend. The Kings and the Clippers play today, which will be Friday once we drop this. I'm getting there. Yeah. So right now, the Clippers are in the 8th seed. Kings are in the 9th seed. And so really, whoever wins that game, they're going to flip spots. And then we have later on, which is, where did I have this? Saturday, right? Spurs right now are in the 8th seed, and they play the Thunder on Saturday, which I think a lot of us project them to lose. So that's going to be a game there. And then the Lakers play the Clippers on Monday. So the Clippers really have a tough stretch of the teams vying for their playoff spot. And, LeBron, he's already said he's activated playoff LeBron early. And you could tell, like, he's still taking some possessions on defense off.
And which he has been for 2 years. I mean, come on.
Exactly. And he's not going to play his hardest defense until he's actually in the playoffs, and most likely actually in, like, the second round, third round of the playoffs, if he gets that far. But I think just through sheer will, LeBron isn't going to let his what is it? How many years straight has he made the playoffs now?
I think it was since. Do you remember the Big Bang?
I think so.
Yeah,
that was
that
when.
was-
Are you
before
familiar
that-
with the birth of
was
Jesus
extinct,
Christ?
right?
Yeah. I think it's been since like 2006 or 2005 or 2004 or
Yeah.
some crazy shit like that.
Like, he's so close that he's gonna get his team there. Like, he's not gonna just fade into the background and be like, well, I came to the Lakers, I came to the West, I took on this challenge, I knew it would be harder. I just think LeBron gets them there. Lonzo should hopefully be back within the next week, which is going to be huge for them defensively. I don't know if we talked about it a lot before, but that signing of Reggie Bullock, I think, has been very positive for them after watching the last few games. He's very pesky on defense, and which is something that they need, especially when you have him on the court next to Rondo, who looks lost half the time. But he's also been extremely proficient at the three-point line for him, which is also something they can use. And Brandon Ingram has looked incredible the last month and a half. Kyle Kuzma has quietly been very good all season. I think they're just getting like a lot of shit because it's in a position that LeBron hasn't been in before. And we've heard in the media everything that's been going on behind the scenes, and him being vocal about some things, and it's like, I don't agree with those either, like you said before, and how Kyrie has been with the media and stuff like that, but LeBron's not going to miss the playoffs, especially when Lonzo comes back. That just adds another dimension. As long as he's healthy, they'll be at least the 8th seed. Maybe they sneak into the 7th, but I think that's really going to be the Kings.
Yeah, I don't want to bet against LeBron, and I keep just saying LeBron's going to make it. But, I mean, it's certainly a very real possibility that he doesn't. And we've seen this before with great players in their prime. Kareem missed a couple seasons. Other players that I can't think of also did. Kyle, do some podcast research to find that, would you? Just look up players in their prime that are superstars that missed the playoffs.
Okay.
Like top 25.
It was like Moses Malone and.
Yeah, I'll look that up in a second.
It would be shocking, though. Seth,
Garnett.
do you think that the Lakers are going to miss the playoffs? Gun to your head right now.
I'm not prepared to bet against LeBron.
Yeah, me neither.
But I think it is a little unfortunate that I think it would be more fun if the Lakers made it into the 7th seed and had a chance of getting to the second round. I think
what would be crazy? If the Lakers get the 8th seed and just beat the Warriors, and LeBron's like, yeah, fuck you all.
I did read a theory that LeBron is just playing the long con and just kind of like trying to skim in there as the 8th seed, and then just take the Warriors out of the equation in the first round, and then just have the rest of the playoffs to coast. What do you have to worry about at that point?
That would be my favorite thing to happen, honestly. But sorry, Seth, I cut you off. You think that they're going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, but I think it would be more fun to be able to see the Lakers like have a chance in the second round. I mean, I would never pick the Lakers to win a playoff series because they're the worst team in history. But I think like some people would give them a chance to beat Denver.
Some rational people, you might say.
Right, but not
who
the
didn't
Warriors.
have several soft spots in their hearts for Celtics players. Not for Kyrie, though. He's dead in your heart.
Yes. He occupies a very cold, stone cold place in my heart at the moment. It's not soft at all.
So can you tell our
Smart.
listeners what game you're watching that you keep looking at the side to?
Utah Denver just started. It's 2-2.
Thank you. I'd appreciate updates throughout the game, please.
Absolutely.
To answer your second question, I think Walton's gone either way.
I think so too. I think it's irreparable what's happened. But
LeBron
if you
told the team bus to leave the facility without him the other day. You just have to, like, he just should quit at that point. That's so embarrassing as a head coach for your number one star player to be like, forget him, just get going.
Isn't Walton like the same age as LeBron? He can't be that much older.
Just about, yeah.
I think so.
Actually, like Luke is probably like 40 something.
Yeah. Stopping what? I had one more thing to say. What was it? Oh, there have been other coaches mentioned as potential candidates to replace Luke, and the list will shock some. Almost at the top of the list is Jason Kidd, who.
Oh my God! I swear to God.
We just saw him leave an 8 seed, and they basically didn't change that much. I mean, they got a few free agents, but they just changed their coach, and immediately they're the best team in the league. So that's a red flag right there, I'd say. He's like the opposite MVP.
He basically had Giannis.
Yeah.
Well, he did. Jason Kidd had Giannis, right? Who's
actually
a similar player to LeBron.
Yeah.
And he's basically did what the Lakers did this year, which was not surround him with shooters,
right,
and not have any sort of viable offense. And so
I think they just want Jason Kidd because he's like friends with LeBron, but
yeah,
that's why LeBron can't make the decisions for your franchise. Much as I love him,
ideally you could get someone that gets along with LeBron and is a good coach. What?
Holy shit, that can't be right. I mean, Ty Lue honestly would be fine, probably, right?
No.
Like, I don't know how much better he is than Luke Walton. I feel like he's just another fine coach like Luke Walton is, you know?
Yeah, I guess so.
Great for Spo.
All right, let's move on to everyone's favorite segment, America's favorite segment. Dare I say the world's favorite segment? I don't know. Why don't you look at Globe for once, kids? So it's the.
Can we get some in-podcast research from Kyle to figure out what the Globe's favorite segment is?
Yeah, 1 second. Yes,
So
Google says this one coming up.
Good. Okay, great. So we're going to list our top 30 players in the NBA right now. Never before seen, except for on this podcast. Or you will only hear it, of course. So I was thinking, guys, that we just go through 10 at a time each. What do you think?
What is the criteria for this? Is this just, the best players?
At this point in time,
he's always a stickler for criteria.
Players.
Based on this season,
Did you make your top 30 list?
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I already made it, but I have to ask.
So basically, I'm glad you asked, Seth. Thank you for bringing that up. The criterion is thusly speaking. Basically, it's the top 30 players in the NBA right now at this moment, taking into a little bit of account past performance and projected playoff performance this year. But I would say that it's mostly based on this season so far.
Yes.
So, for instance, I wouldn't put Nikola Vucevic as a top 30 player, for the last few years, but I have him in this list.
At this point in time, yeah, I agree. Okay.
I don't know what you guys did, but I didn't include players that are out for the year, so I don't have Victor Oladipo, John Wall, or Kristaps here.
Yeah, I excluded them.
Okay. Seth, you have them all 1 through 3, right?
Kristaps number 1.
Sorry, I couldn't see you for a second because I'm blind. All right, so
blindness strikes again.
I didn't eat my carrots today. So, who wants to go first for their 1 through 10, or should we go 20 through 30 and then really build the suspense?
Oh yeah, let's go down.
30 through 20, really.
Yeah, of course. But I'm going to start at 15 and then end at 27. All right, I'll just go first because
Sam
I
made
want
a
to.
list of 40.
I actually
told him top 30.
I was going to reveal on the podcast I have a list of 31. So. All right, so.
But if you had to take one off, you'd take off like number 25 or something.
Yeah, obviously. Should I just go through my 31 through 20 then?
Yes, please.
Someone stop me. Okay, so 31 is Pascal Siakam. Honestly, he should probably be in the top 30, but I just couldn't swing it. 30 is Nikola Vucevic. I had to slide him in there because he's on my fantasy team. 29 is Kyle Lowry. 28, D'Angelo Russell. 27, De'Aaron Fox, because I had to put both the players with the DE apostrophe next to each other because sometimes they feel left out. 26 is Chris Paul. 25 is Chris Middleton. I had to put the Chris's next to each other because sometimes they also feel left out. 24 is Luka Doncic. I can't tell if that's too high or too low, honestly. 24. It's so hard to tell with the rookies. I don't know. I feel like it should be higher, but you really have to earn it in my list. 23 is Al Horford. 22 is Blake Griffin. 21, Drew Holiday. And 20, Bradley Beal. Thoughts?
Okay.
Let's just go through all of ours, and then we'll give our thoughts for the listeners.
All right.
You can go next.
Yeah. I'm gonna start at 30, not 31.
That's weird. Why didn't we have 31?
30. I got my boy from the north, Pascal Siakam.
Yeah.
29. I had a hard time ranking this man because he is a Stogie boy, and he had to be in here. De'Aaron Fox. 28. I think this is too low, but I also didn't know who to move to put him higher. Donnie Mitchell.
I needed Donnie in my top 30, but I just didn't swing it.
Yeah.
27, I got Al Horford. 26, Chris Paul. 25, D'Angelo Russell, a.k.a. D-Loading. 24, Nikola Vucevic. 23, Fat Man Kyle Lowry. 22, Kemba Walker.
Wow, low.
Not Kemba Crawler, Kemba Walker. 21, Jimmy the Buck Butler. And number 20, Drew Holidizzle. Drew Holiday.
Do you call him Hollow Drizzle to his face?
I would. In the street, if I saw him, yeah.
All right, Seth, go ahead. What's your
I think you're
31?
going to be surprised by some of mine.
Okay.
Keep in mind I put copious amounts of research into these.
No, you didn't. You just made it 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, I did. Number 30, Christopher Middleton.
That's his full name. His Christian name, you might say.
Yes. 29, Drew Holiday. 28, DeMontis Sabonis.
I like that.
27, Al Horford. Narrowly above Al Horford, it's Kyrie Irving.
Wow. You hate him so much.
I'm surprised he cracked the list.
I really wanted Al to go above him, but it just seemed, it's one of those things. It's like, obviously Kyrie is way better, more talented of a basketball player, but he's single-handedly cratering our team. So where do we put him?
Yeah.
Then I have De'Aaron Fox, 25. Steven Adams at 24.
I like that.
Chris Paul, 23. CJ McCollum, 22. Luka Doncic, 21. And rounding out the 30 through 20 range is Nikola Vucevic at 20.
I have several thoughts. First of all, being Kyle, you berated me for not having Pascal in my top 30, but he was 30th for you. So
I told you I had trouble. I'm placing like the last 18 through 30. Honestly, I could have changed them any way possible, yeah. But it's such a slim margin of difference between them. So,
Seth, did you have Jimmy on your list?
I did not.
Hendricks, I mean.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't have Jimmy the Butler as well, and I feel like, he probably is a top 30 player, but I don't know. Just like he just tanked one organization, then still wasn't happy the next one. So it's like kind of a Kyrie situation where I just didn't want to put him on there. I gave him a little timeout. I said, you sit in the corner, you think about what you've done, Jimmy. And if he does it again, you know what? He'll never be my top 30 again. There, I said it.
I'm pretty sure I've heard someone say no one puts Butler in a corner.
Oh, $1 Million Butler? Yeah, I remember that movie.
No, yeah. He breaks
Isn't
his
that
neck,
what the movie's from? I've never seen it. I have no idea.
Isn't there a movie called The Butler? I heard it's just a documentary about his life.
I can't believe it's not Butler.
Nice one, dude. I like how Seth had Al the lowest, even though he's a Celtics fan.
Wait, where did he have him?
27, I think.
I think Kyle and I both had him 27.
Yeah, we both have him 27.
You guys are fools.
I think I kind of agree with Kyle. Like, by that point, I was just kind of listing names, and I was like, yeah, this player's probably better than him, and plus Al did miss some time.
Yeah.
True.
So I docked a little bit.
I think you're right, guys, that 20 through 30, the order doesn't matter as much to me because they're all similar talent, I feel, don't you? Yeah. And there's maybe 5 or 6 more players we could have included in that same group, And because I didn't have Steven Adams or CJ, but I could, I wouldn't argue with having them in the top 30. I didn't have Jimmy or Sabonis or Donovan Mitchell, but I wouldn't argue with having them in the top 30, So I think there's probably 5 or 6 more that we could include in here. No one would have a problem with it, really.
No doubt.
All right, let's
going on. Go ahead.
Do I want to get you going? All right, number 19, I have Draymond Green. Now, usually in the past, I've ranked Draymond ahead of Klay Thompson. And me and Seth have had numerous discussions about this, most notably being when we both did a 5K for Run the Girls on the Run. But we were supposed to be paired with the girl and like be their mentor during the run, but we didn't get paired with anyone, so we just took a jog together in the city.
We woke up at like 7 a.m., drove to the city, waited for like 2 hours to go on a 5K jog together with nobody else.
What does this have to do with Klay Thompson versus Draymond Green?
The entire jog, we just argued about Draymond Green versus Klay Thompson.
That's fair.
Yeah. So I think Draymond is still elite defensively, but he slipped offensively enough for me to drop him here. I still want him in the top 20, though.
It's not even on my list.
Yeah, I completely glossed over Draymond Green.
I mean, you could argue that he's not a top 30 player, like for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I just have a soft spot. In my heart for him. Yeah. At 18, I have Karl Anthony Towns. 17, I have Kemba Walker. Not Kemba Sprinter. Kemba Walker. At 16, I have Ben Simmons. 15, I have Rudy Gobert. 14, I have Klay. 13, I have Kyrie Irving. I docked him a little bit for chemistry leadership, but not as much as Seth did. 12, I have Damian Lillard. 11, I have Russell Westbrook.
Stop there.
Officer, please.
You have Russ over Damian.
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
I just feel that Russ offers things in the extraneous areas, even though his shooting has been poor this season. That
you talking about your extraneous areas that he offers you late at night?
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
What do my extraneous areas be?
No further questions, Connor.
I've never thought about this before, but Matt and I both have one more extraneous area than you guys do because we have 3 nipples.
Yeah. So if you guys if it's ever just the 4 of us on the podcast, we have total 1 extra nipple each, right? No, wait. No, we each have an extra half nipple.
Nipples for one more person.
Yeah, on average, we have 2.5 nipples each. Yeah. That being said, Westbrook has been better defensively this year. He's looked better to the eye test, and his stats have been better. He's still an elite passer. What's that? What's that?
He's shooting like 28% free or something.
I'm only talking defensively right now.
Oh.
And he's still an elite passer and rebounder. But I don't know. You're right. Maybe Damon should be. Maybe Damon should be above Russell. He probably should. I'm such a Russell defender. I feel like people just come at him, and I still would just want him on my team. I don't know. But I wouldn't. I think Damon ahead of Russell is fine too. Bill Russell, I mean, because he's not even elite. Just kidding, Dave. I would never say that to you. Bill Russell. All right, Kyle. Who do you have?
Coming in at number 19. I have Blake Griffin. 18, I got Gobert. 17, Benjamin Simmons. Number 16, Karl Anthony Towns. Number 15, Bradley Beal. Number 14, Kyrie Irving. Let me get berated for number 13, please. Luka Doncic.
I mean, honestly, like with him, it's hard to tell. Like he probably is like a top 15 player already. I don't know.
Number 12, Damian, and number 11, Russell Westbrook.
Oh, we both had him at Russell. We had the same order for 12 and 11.
Yeah.
Wait, you didn't have Klay at all?
Yeah, I glossed over him too. I'm not mad about it either.
Sure.
Arguably, all these guys have a different. You have to take into account the role they play on their team and
sure.
Stuff like that.
You take Klay over D'Angelo, right?
No.
He's standing by it. He's standing pat.
No, D'Angelo Russell has looked like almost an elite player. Like if he started driving to the rim a little more, and like instead of averaging like 2 free throws a game, he averaged like 8 free throws a game, he'd be really close to averaging 30 points per game this season.
Are you telling me Pascal Siakam is better than Klay Thompson?
Yeah. I think so.
My God. He hates Clay. You heard it here first. All right,
Alexa
Seth,
doesn't agree with me either, but
Trouble connecting to the internet. Your Alexa.
she does this to me twice a day. I don't even talk to her. Bitch.
She loves Clay.
Wow.
Go ahead, Seth.
All right, so I have Russell Westbrook coming in at 19, which I wouldn't be opposed to someone persuading me to move him up higher. I do think the argument would be that he's contributed to Paul George's breakout season. So I like that, but I just think the volume of threes that he's taking and not making any of them. 18, LaMarcus Aldridge.
Yeah, left him out.
17, Bradley Beal. 16, I have Clay. 15, Ben Simmons. 14, Kemba. 13, Gobert. 12, Blake.
Seems
And
high.
11, Karl Anthony Towns.
Wow.
What was I going to
Do
say?
I feel strongly about any of those
Yes, and I will die on this hill.
ones? Hard to say.
I can't remember. I was going to say something about the list. Just tell me them all again, but quicker this time with feeling.
Don't tell us all again.
I can't remember what I was going to say. Seth, what's weird about your list? Just bring that up, and then I'll tell you how I feel about it.
Well, I had Blake and Kat significantly higher than you two.
That's fair. I just don't like Blake as a person, and I think his family's trash. LaMarcus, I feel like LaMarcus probably should be on this list, but I just don't like watching face-up 12-footers from the left side of the free throw line. What does that make me?
I'm kind of old-fashioned that way. I've always liked LaMarcus.
I do. Yeah, sometimes I'm in the mood for him. You know, I light a candle, watch a Spurs game, really get into it, draw a bath. But draw a bath, it's like on a Pictionary sheet of paper.
That's on paper.
Kyle, any strong feelings you want to bring up before I move on to top 10?
Did you say you're at Karl Anthony Towns, what, 11th?
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
I feel bad for him because of the whole Jimmy Butler situation.
I thought you were going to say his car crashed the other day.
That also. He said he had like a 5% chance of living.
I think he made that up, just like they made up the Lakers having like a 5%
really,
chance of
Yeah.
making the playoffs.
Who really knows? And he's looked really good, I think, since Butler left.
I agree. He's been killing it.
And so if you
I like where you put him
the whole season, you know.
I literally put under Carl could be climbing up this list. I just kind of want more consistency from him, but he has been like the last few weeks. So I think
does it make you wonder like how fast he's going to climb though? Because he's a lot taller than some of these players, so he probably gets up the ladder pretty quick.
You know, he doesn't need a rope. Honestly, he could just free climb. All right, I'm gonna give you my top 10. Are you fucking ready?
Hit me.
I bet our top 10s are going to be like very similar.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, I think so. Number 10, Joel Embiid.
How dare you?
Number 9, Paul George, which I never expected. I put Paul George in the top 10. I'll be frank
Wow.
with you. You can be
Number
Steven.
9. Okay,
Yeah.
I rescind what I said before about them being the same.
Wait, did you not have Paul George on your top 10? You didn't have him in the top 30?
Oh, I have him higher.
Oh, yeah. He should probably be higher, but there's a lot of good players I've heard in the NBA. 8, I have Nikola Jokic. I thought about putting Joel and Paul George ahead of him, but his team is better and he doesn't play with another star, so I just feel like he deserves that spot. 7 is Anthony Davis. Probably should be lower because I already docked him a little bit for a situation this year and him not playing, but he's just he's so fucking good. You know?
Yep.
Okay, good. I just wanted some reinforcement.
You know, you guys had didn't put Aldridge on there and Clay
you
and
didn't put
Draymond.
Anthony Davis?
No, I did not.
Well, he doesn't deserve it. 6, I have Kawhi. And then my top 5 to me is unassailable, and it can't be assailed. 5, I have James Harden. I thought about vaulting him over a couple spots, but I just prefer the way the next few players play, and that's just personal, really. 4, I have Giannis. 3, I have Steph Curry. And 2, I have Kevin Durant. I feel like neither will win MVP, maybe when they play with each other ever, but I still think they're the second and third best players. 1, I still have LeBron James. I don't think he's flipped enough for anyone to really grab his top spot, but I don't know if it's really a no-brainer at this point. I mean, Did I think about it? No, but could I envision there being a brain involved? Yes. Kyle, what's your top 10?
Number 10, Anthony Davis, based on everything that we've just talked about.
Yeah.
Number 9, I had Kawhi. Number 8, Joel
Did you say
Embiid.
Kawhi?
Yeah,
he
he's
did
6
say
for me.
he said 6. Yeah.
6.
Number 8, I had Joel Embiid. Number 7, I had Big Honey Nikola Jokic. Number 6, Paul George. And then number 5, I had a tough time ranking. Well, 5 through 2, really. Very slim margin between these. Really between all of the top 10, but
Is one Josh Smith or?
yeah. How did you know? So number 5, I had Stephen Curry.
I've heard of him.
Yeah. Number 4, James Harden.
Mm.
Number 3, the Greek Freak himself. Number 2, the Snake, Kevin Durant. And number 1, LeBron James.
LeBron Germs.
Any qualms?
I feel like I don't think LeBron is going to win MVP maybe ever again because it's a regular season award, but I still think he's the best and most valuable player, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you.
It's not a no-brainer, even though there's no brain involved.
The one problem with our podcast is that we are some of the biggest LeBron stans of all time.
Very true.
So I am biased in that sense. Really just put us in a room with Nick Wright and Jordan's name would be dragged through the mud faster than a horse on a drizzly Tuesday.
That is when they drag the horses
No
the fastest. Yeah, I've heard that.
So I think it's funny that I always make a big stink about like what are the criteria, what do we mean when we say like best player right now looking at this season. And so I think like my top 10 after of course I said that I bet they're all going to be the same. Mine looks way different than y'all's, and I think is it because I have Joe Harris in my top 10?
No, because we all did.
So I like put in a lot more stock into their performance this season.
Yeah.
And I was more like MVP rankings, which this day and age means like most outstanding player in the regular season. So just keep that in mind. Like I still think LeBron is the best player in the world, but he's not number 1 on my list because
you
hasn't
are
been doing
a barbarian and a scholar.
And a scholar.
See,
So
I had a tough time ranking mine because that's how I wanted to do it, but at the same time, it was like, you know, like Durant's not in the MVP race, but he's still.
But I still think like Durant and Curry aren't in the MVP race because they play with each other. Like I still think they're still having 2 of the best seasons. You know.
Yeah.
We just want a player to carry their team solely. That's what we want for MVP.
Yeah,
I guess so. But okay, go ahead. Sorry.
So I have Lillard number 10.
It's fair.
Kawhi number 9. LeBron James number 8.
You scoundrel.
Again, part of it is because he missed 18 games.
For sure, yeah.
And the whole thing with like, I don't know that we can necessarily blame him for what Rich Paul does, but
we can.
I think he hasn't been the best teammate so far.
Yeah.
And if he was playing like the best player and was on the court every game, I think if he hadn't missed any games, they'd be in the playoffs for sure. But anyways, 7, I have Embiid. 6, I have Jokic. 5, I have Steph. 4, I have Kevin Durant. Coming in at number 3, my former arch nemesis, Paul George.
Wow, I'm shocked by this.
He's come around.
Number 2, I have James Harden. And number 1, I have Giannis.
Did you have Kawhi anywhere in there?
Yeah, Kawhi was 9.
Of course.
So I feel like Kawhi has rested several games. LeBron missed a bunch of games. Steph missed some games as well, but I didn't penalize him for that too much. But I just think Paul George, is a much different player than the one that he was in Indiana when everyone was trying to put him into the top 10 prematurely, in my eyes, because he shot a ton of mid-range shots.
Let me stop you there, Seth. I'm going to do something prematurely in your eyes tonight. Go ahead.
Okay, good.
Put the kids to bed, for God's sakes.
Protect my cornea.
Maybe you get to wear an eye patch tomorrow. That'd be tight.
And I think Paul George has basically, I mean, we've talked about this before, but he's played like Kevin Durant in his MVP season. I have them 3 and 4. I mean, at this point, they're almost indistinguishable, and I think Paul George is better on defense. Whereas back in Indiana, when everyone was trying to say, like, oh, he's the best two-way player, he was, like, not scoring nearly as efficiently, and he was taking a bunch of mid-range, and now he's shooting from 3, and like I said, he's basically Kevin Durant. And then Harden is averaging 37 points per game. I hear that's pretty good.
I mean, it's better than 36 points per game.
Yeah. So
he also scored 58 tonight, which is more than 57.
But again,
less than 59.
If I did a ranking and you told me, like, just who's better in general, based on what we've seen of them play basketball in your lifetime, Kevin Durant or Giannis, I'd say Kevin Durant. But I think Giannis has had a better season this year.
No, I feel you. And that's a good way to rank them, too. It's interesting to me. I don't know if I really have a point to make here, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it anyway. Like, there's only 3 players really being considered for MVP, right? And I think it's interesting, like, that in every season it comes down to a few players with the best narrative, so to speak, and the best, like, media attention. Maybe not just media attention, but, like, the spotlight, and they've performed well and they've had a lot of highlights or whatever. But, like, I feel like it should be Giannis, Harden, and Paul George should not be the only 3 ever discussed for MVP the rest of the season, you know? Like, while they're all having fantastic seasons, I mean, Kevin Durant's averaging, 28, 8 and 6 or whatever it might be, and Steph is averaging like almost 30 points. And Nikola Jokic has taken a Nuggets team to the 2nd seed that has no other star.
If they win tonight, they're the 1st seed.
And Joel Embiid is doing like 27 and 13. And, you're just never going to hear any of them mentioned. And it's just interesting to me that, I mean, I don't have like a big qualm with those 3 being discussed for MVP, but it's interesting that every year come this time, we just focus on a couple storylines and don't really talk about any other player in consideration.
I think they should really just rename the award Most Outstanding Season, Most Outstanding Regular Season, because that's what it is. It's
the
not
Moore's
about
Award.
Someone's value.
Like
It's about, like you said, the narrative. It's what's most outstanding, what's most awe-inspiring. What do the stats tell you is the best just from that one regular season? And so I think it makes sense that once it's getting down to the end of the season, we would or the media would narrow down into a few candidates who you think are going to win. But I do think, if someone wanted to vote Jokic as their top MVP, right, first place vote, I wouldn't have a big problem with that, but I bet he won't get any first place votes. So It is true. I think it's kind of like an echo chamber where everyone's like, oh, well, yeah, Giannis is the favorite, so everyone can vote for him, and then everyone does.
I was going to use the exact words echo chamber, and I don't necessarily think they often get it very wrong, but like because it's like an echo chamber, if everyone's talking about one player, you just assume he's the best. But like, you have other players over here averaging 28 points and shooting the lights out, and in Golden State, you don't even hear them mentioned.
Would we even be talking about Giannis as an MVP candidate if his team wasn't first place or have the best record in the NBA and had a point differential of almost 10?
No,
probably not.
Yeah, if Jason Kidd was still the coach, I don't think Giannis would even be talked about. But like, this season's not that far off from what he's been doing the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of interesting because Giannis isn't averaging the most points, rebounds, assists, best field goal percentage or anything in the league. But he's still
his team's so good and so efficient. And I don't know why that's not a knock on him. Whereas, we talked about, like, Paul George really wears OKC without Paul George and his defense and his offensive ability, and are the Rockets even in a top 4, top 5 seed in the West if James Harden's not on the team?
Exactly. Also, I'm just looking at Giannis's Basketball Reference, and the pronunciation where they sound it out is just incredible. It's the longest one I've ever seen in my life.
Let me pull it up.
Does he have any nicknames?
The Greek Freak and the Alphabet.
The alphabet. Oh,
That's a good nickname.
Doesn't he have every letter but the letter Z and X in his name?
no way. That'd be
I
wild.
have no clue.
There's no J
No Q.
or B
I know there's not a
or
lot
C.
of.
What's his middle
I just
name?
made that up.
I think he only has 3 letters, actually.
What's his full name? Yeah.
What's his middle name? I don't know.
Have I been saying his last name wrong all these years somehow? They're
Onto the-
saying his name is
Kumbo, right?
Jan Is
Yeah.
Adetokunbo.
Oh, I always see Adantetokounmpo. Antetokounmpo.
Me too.
Adantetokounmpo.
Just
He
like Lil
said it.
Wayne says it.
He said it himself. If you guys watched the All-Star draft, LeBron and Giannis, because Shaq couldn't pronounce it, obviously.
Obviously.
And then they asked LeBron to pronounce it. He did pretty well.
Yeah, that's no
But
surprise.
I think it is Antetokounmpo and not Antetokounmpo.
Yeah, makes sense. He's like a little ant. Do we have any other strong thoughts on this list?
I only have weak dreams.
All right, let's go to our last segment then. Really, the one I'm most excited about. Not the one the Globe is most excited about, though.
No, certainly
So,
not.
our task. This segment went through many iterations, but our task was to create a starting 5 using 1 star from our top 30.
No, from our top 10.
Yeah, well, okay, really.
And then using 1 player from our top 10 and then no player from our top 30.
Yeah, so the other 4 players have to be outside your top 30. And you just want a team kind of the opposite of the Lakers and Celtics. You want a team that has the most chemistry that you think is going to work well together. So, Seth, why don't we start off with you since this was your idea, and it was a brilliant one, baby.
Thank you. I'm still not sure who my 5th guy is. Maybe you guys can help me.
Oh, I'd love to. I guarantee it's a Stokes boy.
Well, I have one idea, but I kind of feel guilty about doing it because Kyle was texting us about it, right? So I kind of don't want to do that one. Anyways, so my first player is LeBron
James or otherwise?
James.
Senior
Or
or
Ronnie,
junior?
either one.
Okay, gotcha.
Obviously, I'm having Marcus Smart on the team.
Of course.
That's a no-brainer. I also have been. So then my one route that I went, which I'm not going because I think Kyle should have this one, was to get Tobias Harris.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have Tobias Harris, you got to get Boban.
Of course. That's your glue guy.
I did not go that route, so you could go that route if you lean.
So that would be 4. I'd have LeBron being point LeBron, and Marcus Smart being the point guard as well.
Yeah.
And then Boban center, Tobias Harris on the wing, playmaking and hitting threes. And then I think I would want one more shooter, and I think I would Buddy Hield.
Wow, we have very similar teams, honestly. I'll just go through mine because it's okay. Mine's pretty similar. I have Marcus Smart as my point guard. Actually, when I first made this team, I forgot to include a star, so I'll just go without the star, and then I'll add one in later for a spice. So
Let's pause 1 second. My headphones died. I'm gonna go get another pair.
Okay. Oh my
There's a
God.
headphones
Again
you think
from
he has.
Sam's team.
Kyle, also, you're going to have to cut out the first minute and 20 of mine because it just added on to our first take.
Oh my God. All right.
You have a lot of editing work to do.
That's fine. I really want to know when Seth comes back if he named his team. Because I named mine.
Oh, I haven't named mine.
How did you do this without putting someone from the top 10?
I have a pretty solid team without it, honestly.
I'm going to ask you, was the one player that you did include LeBron from your top 10? Has to be, right?
I'd rather not say.
I mean, you're about to say it in a second.
All right, we're good.
Fine.
I wanna-
Keep the suspense.
All right, so I have Marcus Smart as my point guard, scrappy player. I'm hoping he shoots the three as well as he has this year. Otherwise, I don't have much shooting. Then at shooting guard, I had Devin Booker because he looks like he's 12, and I like that on the team. And then at small forward, I have Buddy Hield, which you really had to stretch him to small forward, but he's been working out. At power forward, I have Pascal Siakam, which technically he was my number 31, but he wasn't in my top 30. So then at center, I have Steven Adams, so he could just gobble up every rebound and talk an Australian accent. But you might notice I didn't have any stars in there because I forgot to put one in. So I'm just gonna sub in LeBron for Devin Booker, but I'm gonna move everyone down a position. So Buddy Hield will be my shooting guard, Pascal will be my small forward, and LeBron will be my power forward. So
Yep.
I feel like it's maybe a little bad to have three non-shooters, but it's fine. Buddy will make up for it.
Yeah, I had a really tough time because my first go-round, my team consisted of players from only two teams in the NBA. That was the Denver Nuggets and the Sacramento Kings.
Stogie
I'm not
boys.
surprised by that. What
So
are the
then
two Stogie franchises?
yeah, so I went back and I reworked it so I didn't have solely players from those teams. But the majority of the lineup is still players from those teams somehow.
Okay.
All right. So my starting five for the Tennessee Taters. That's the team name I'd have as well. At point guard, I'd have Jamal Murray.
I love him.
Shooting guard, my guy who I predicted to win the 3-point contest and did, Joe Harris. Number 3, Bogdanovich.
I strongly considered him. I needed at least one Bogdanovic.
Yeah. At the 4, I'd have Tobias Harris. And then rounding out the team, Nikola Jokic, of course.
What? Oh. I forgot you could add a star again somehow. I was like, he's not outside your top 30. So of all your top 10, you took Nikola. I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my team's guaranteed to win because I have LeBron and neither of you do except Sam. But he didn't really start.
I inserted him at the end, remember? He's coming off the bench.
I don't know. I think it's definitely it's a discussion to be had. But after watching, I don't know what it's been recently. The pick and roll between Jamal Murray and Jokic has been good all season, but especially as of the last 2-3 weeks, or since Jamal's been back from that injury he had, it's been unstoppable. Did you guys watch the game the other night against OKC?
Yeah, I watched part of it. I think that if Jamal gets more consistent, he could even make an I consider him for the top 30.
I did too. He was just outside. But that pick and roll they run is I don't think it's going to be. I think that's one of the biggest reasons that I have them as one of the two teams I think can beat the Warriors in the Western Conference.
I just don't see it with the Nuggets. I see it with OKC, but I don't know if I see it with the
Nuggets.
Nuggets.
The Nuggets have a great defense too. And if there's any player that's going to get Boogie pissed off, it's Big Honey down low. He's going to drag him out. He doesn't even play that often in the paint.
Yeah, that's true.
Once you drag him out, and Paul Millsap's been revitalized.
It's because I dropped him from my fantasy team, so he got mad and went on a tear.
Yeah, he had to scorn you.
And my team's still called best in the app, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, my question for you is who's going to score on my team? I got Marcus, Buddy Hield, LeBron, Pascal, and Steven. We're long.
Buddy and
we're
Pascal.
Wet. We're wild. Yeah.
What's your team name? That's the real question. I'm the Tennessee Taters.
We're called Wet, Wild, and Ready for Child.
Wow. Is that because you have Devin Booker, who's impregnated 4 women in a matter of 2 days?
No, Devin's off my team for LeBron, remember?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But LeBron already has 2 children. 3? So,
Yeah, but Devin Booker's really the epitome of Wet, Wild, and Ready for Child.
He can come off the bench with LeBron. Seth, do you have any arguments for your team?
Well, I think I don't know if we were doing this exercise with a gun to my head, would I go the the Bobby and Toby route?
That's
I
the
also-
ultimate chemistry, though.
That's true.
It is.
So I kind of like it, but I also thought about like I think LeBron needs to be surrounded by shooters, and he also needs somebody who can play the Kyrie role, who comes in and takes off the primary scoring load for stretches during the game. So I was trying to think like who is a good person to slot in there, who's not in the top 30. I kind of like your Devin Booker idea.
I was gonna say actually Devin fits that role perfectly. Too bad he's off my team, you fool.
Yeah, I've thought about Donovan Mitchell because he's not in my top 30. I thought about Jason Tatum because he would still have defensive versatility. So I'm not sure who else you guys think. I guess I thought about Chris Middleton, although he's in my top 30, but I didn't add Anthony Davis, so really he'd be 31.
Well, you can have Anthony Davis and LeBron on your team, honestly.
Yeah.
That's
So-
unfair.
I thought about DeMar DeRozan.
Oh yeah.
The thing with DeMar DeRozan is, and I'll never agree with this, is like he is a good player for what he does, but the man just needs to adapt to the current NBA and take a one step back and start shooting shots from behind the 3-point line instead of a foot inside.
Yeah.
I get sometimes he's efficient, but as of recently, he really hasn't been. And it's a much better shot selection in any form of basketball. I don't know why he refuses to do it.
Yeah.
I think he probably should have been in the top 30 though, right? Or no?
No, he's ass.
Of course.
I also didn't have D'Angelo Russell, so I thought about him in that slot.
D'Angelo would be perfect for that slot.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
I might do like
Too bad he was already on the
Marcus-
Lakers and could have been with
I
LeBron.
know, right? The Lakers are trash, honestly. If they had just kept D'Angelo and Brooke, like
Yeah.
their team would be
The
completely
fact that
different.
they got rid of Brooke Lopez too is
That was
Keeps
unbelievable.
me up at night.
So I think I might do something like Marcus, D'Angelo, LeBron. I think if Buddy Hield still for
Are you
3
just
points,
changing your team on the podcast right now?
I'm putting an alternative idea out into the ether, and people can
Okay.
decide what they would like. And then keep Buddy Hield, and then instead of Tobias, throw in maybe Pascal or just keep Tobias. But I can't have Toby if I don't have Bobby. I'm going back to my room.
Incredible work, honestly. This is what people tune into the podcast for.
yeah.
Just-
This was fun.
They get 2 starting 5s. We've lost
So-
Seth somehow. Did we ever really have him though?
No, he just keeps freezing.
There he's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we just kind of touched on, the fact of like the one thing that we have to add to the Lakers for LeBron is like a Kyrie type. It's kind of the opposite of the Thunder. Like he needs a guard of Paul George. You know what I'm saying? Like he needs
Yeah.
the equivalent of Paul George in a guard form.
So like Kyrie.
But Kyrie's defense isn't like that.
That's true.
There aren't really any guards because that's why they're guards, is because they're undersized.
Because they can't
And
guard
they can't
anyone.
They can't play defense like Paul George because Paul George is 6'8".
Yeah.
I mean, Marcus
Brandon
Smart,
Ingram?
but he's nowhere near the offensive.
You know who I would love for them to get, and it's not even a possibility, would be put Victor Oladipo on that team. Healthy Victor Oladipo.
There it is. That's a perfect player.
Should I
Seth,
just
is
run the
Victor Oladipo?
Lakers?
I thought you already were. All right. I think that about wraps it up. Oh, Seth, I have to tell you what app that you should get.
Oh yeah, please do.
It's called Plant Nanny. And what you do is you have a little plant, and it's pretty cute. It has like a little smile, you know? And then when you drink water, you enter it in, and the plant grows.
My
Because
friend would be dead in 2 days.
Seth only drinks water at meals. And he's
I'm the same
constantly
way.
dehydrated.
I've been trying to drink a lot more
Both of
water.
you, get Plant Nanny.
And really the days where I drink the most water are the 3 days I'm at work. And I swear people probably think like I don't know what they think is wrong with me, but I go to the bathroom to pee those days at least 10 times in an 8-hour work
I
day.
feel like I pee 15 times a day at least. Is that normal?
No, I pee 3 times. a year.
Wow.
Not if you get plant nanny though.
It's like a butterfly.
Do they only pee 3 times a year?
I think so, but I don't know.
We'll go with it.
Yeah. We'll run with it.
All right, boys, it's really been a pleasure. The big
This has been
NBA
great.
summer blowout, a success again.
It's not summer. Why is this the name?
It is a blowout though. Kyle, which day did he rise though?
Let me check my calendar. Hold on.
Okay,
The 3rd. It was the 3rd.
thank you.
Yep. Are we stopping?
Yeah, I stopped it. Kyle, you have to do more editing than you'd ever want.